As some of you may know, in July 2023, I moved to the UK from the US. Luckily, I was able to move to the UK fairly easily because I have dual citizenship. My dad was born in the UK, which made the process very straightforward for me. However, after sharing my experiences, I've received tons of questions from fellow Americans who want to know how they can move to the UK too. So I decided to create this video to go over all the different visa options that Americans can apply for if they want to make that move across the pond. Whether you're looking to study, work, or join family here, I'll cover everything you need to know about the visa process. First is the skilled worker visa. This is one of the most popular routes for Americans who want to move to the UK for employment. It's for individuals who have a job offer from a UK-based employer. The first requirement is that you need a job offer, of course. You must have a confirmed job offer from an employer that is registered with the UK Home Office as a licensed sponsor. Next is the salary threshold and skill level. The minimum salary requirement is typically £26,200 per annum, and the job must be at the required skill level RQF level 3 or above, which is equivalent to A-level qualifications. Next is the English language proficiency. You must prove that you can speak, read, write, and understand English at a B1 level or higher. This can be shown through a test or by having a degree taught in English. And lastly, you'll need a certificate of sponsorship, COS. The employer must provide a certificate of sponsorship, which is an electronic record proving your job offer. This visa is initially granted for up to 5 years and can be extended. After 5 years, you may apply for indefinite leave to remain or permanent residence. This one seems like the easiest and most common on the surface, but I will say it is quite difficult to find a company that is willing to sponsor you unless you have a very specific set of skills. Next is the student visa tier 4, which is for Americans who want to study in the UK at a recognized educational institution like a university or college. This could be either for an undergraduate or postgraduate program. The first requirement is an offer from a UK educational institution. You must have an unconditional offer of a place on a course from a licensed student sponsor. Next is proof of finances. You need to show that you have enough money to support yourself and pay for your course tuition fees, which is typically at least £1,334 per month for living costs if you're studying in London, and £1,023 per month elsewhere in the UK. Next is confirmation of acceptance for studies or your CAS. The school or university will issue you a CAS, which is needed to apply for your visa. And lastly is English proficiency. You must prove your knowledge of English language, usually through a recognized English test, or if your prior degree was taught in English. The visa length depends on the course, but it's usually for the full duration of your course with some additional time before and after your course ends. And to add on to this visa, there is also something called a graduate route visa. So once you graduate from a degree program in the UK, you can apply for this graduate route visa that allows you to live and work in the UK without needing work sponsorship from a company. Third, we have the Ancestry Visa. If you have a grandparent who is born in the UK, you can apply for the UK Ancestry Visa, allowing you to live and work in the UK. The first requirement is proof of ancestry. You must provide birth certificates to prove that one of your grandparents was born in the UK. Next is the work requirement. You must plan to work or seek employment in the UK. There are no restrictions on the type of work you can do. And lastly is the financial support. You need to show that you can financially support yourself without needing public funds. This visa is granted for 5 years and you can apply for indefinite leave to remain after this period. Fourth, we have the family visa, which allows Americans to join family members who are British citizens or have settled status in the UK. This visa is commonly used for spouses, partners, children, or dependent relatives. This one I have some experience in because my husband Nick applied for this in order for us to move here. The first requirement is a relationship requirement. You must prove that you're in a genuine relationship with a British citizen, a person with settled status, or someone with refugee or humanitarian protection. Next is English proficiency. You must prove your ability to communicate in English at a required level. Then we have the financial requirement. You must meet a financial threshold where the sponsoring partner, so the UK citizen, must earn at least £29,000 per year. This amount increases if you have children. And lastly, living together. You must have proof that you have been living together for at least 2 years in a genuine relationship if applying as an unmarried partner, or provide a marriage certificate if you're married. This visa is granted for 2.5 years, which can be extended from there. After living in the UK for 5 years on this visa, you may apply for indefinite leave to remain. Next, we have the Global Talent Visa, which is for individuals who are leaders or potential leaders in specific fields like science, humanities, engineering, arts, or digital technology. It's an attractive option for high-achieving professionals. The first requirement is an endorsement. You need to be endorsed by an approved UK organization related to your field, such as Tech Nation for digital technology or the Arts Council England. And then you need exceptional talent or promise. You can apply either as someone already recognized as a global leader, which would be exceptional talent, or as someone with the potential to become a leader, which is exceptional promise. There is no job offer required. Unlike the skilled worker visa, you do not need a job offer to apply. This visa is initially granted between 1 and 5 years, and it can be extended. You can apply for permanent residency after 3 to 5 years, depending on your specific situation. Next, we have the Investor Visa Tier 1, which is for high net worth individuals who wish to invest a significant amount of money into the UK economy. For this visa, there's an investment requirement, of course. You must have access to at least £2 million, which you are willing to invest in UK government bonds, share capital, or loan capital in active and trading UK companies. You must prove that the money belongs to you or your partner and it has been held for at least 2 years before applying. There is no job requirement. You do not need a job offer, and there is no language requirement for this visa. This visa is granted for 3 years with a 2-year extension possible. You may apply for indefinite leave to remain after 5 years or faster, about 2 to 3 years, if you invest even more money if you have it. 7th on the list is the Innovator Visa, which is for individuals who want to start and run a business in the UK, particularly in innovative sectors. First, you'd need a business idea endorsement. Your business idea must be endorsed by an approved UK endorsing body. The idea must be innovative, viable, and scalable. Next, there's an investment requirement. You'll need at least £50,000 in investment funds to apply. And lastly, there is an English language requirement. You must prove your English language proficiency at a B2 level. This visa is initially granted for 3 years, and it can be extended for another 3 years, and after 5 years you may apply for indefinite leave to remain. And lastly, we have the temporary work visa. This visa is for individuals who are coming to the UK for a short-term employment opportunity, internships, or work placement under government authorized exchange programs. The first requirement is a certificate of sponsorship from a licensed sponsor. Next is a specific program or employer. Depending on the type of temporary work visa, you must be sponsored for a specific role or program. And lastly is financial support. You must prove you can support yourself financially without public funds. This visa is valid for up to 12 to 24 months, depending on the type of work, and it's typically not extendable. Some other considerations for US citizens moving to the UK. First is the application process. Most visa applications can be submitted online via the UK government visa applications portal. You may need to attend an appointment to provide biometric information like fingerprints and a photo. Next are the visa fees. Each visa has an associated application fee, of course, which can range from a few hundred to a few £1,000 depending on the visa type. And lastly, the healthcare surcharge. You will also need to pay the Immigration Health Surcharge, which grants access to the UK's National Health Service, or the NHS, while living in the UK. These are some of the most common visa options Americans can apply for if they want to move to the UK. As you can see, the requirements vary widely depending on the type of visa, so it's important to carefully review each option based on your individual circumstances and goals for relocating. Now let's take a look at the reasons why I left the US and moved to the UK.